to survive the classroom.
As I am recording this, we had some very breaking news that at this point is no longer breaking news. And that is that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged. Guys, listen. Okay, first of all, I feel like it's relevant to this podcast simply because she announced it as your English teacher is marrying the gym teacher or something to that effect, which I did think was cute because I've heard from a lot of different people that like Taylor Swift in another life would have been an English teacher, right? But here, okay, listen, I like Taylor Swift. Okay, I'm going to establish that first and foremost. I think it's great that they're together. Sure. Sure, I don't know them, you know? But I truly, in my heart of hearts, am so baffled by the way that everyone, when they found out, lost their ever-loving minds. I do not understand. And I've been really like, I'm not even kidding. I've been deeply looking within because my reaction, not to the engagement, mind you, the engagement is their business. Happy for them in the same way you would if like a squirrel found a nut. Good for them. They seem happy, right? But it's not impacting my day, right? My reaction to everyone else's reaction is, I don't want to say disgust, but it is dancing that line a little bit. And I've been trying to figure out why I feel that way because it's not a good look to be like raining on someone's parade because I think it's great that people are finding things to be joyful about. I think that's lovely. But for some reason, when I saw that there was a college professor who announced the engagement to his class and then canceled class because he said he could not possibly function or teach with this news in his head, I am so baffled. You guys, I don't understand. Tell me what and like it, you don't need to tell me how great she is. I understand objectively, like, sure, great, awesome. She's, a very, very successful songwriter. She's obviously a genius with how she's done her business stuff. He does the football stuff really good. And I'm so happy for both of them. It does not impact my life. And I don't. It's like, it's kind of like to me, in the same way that I feel like if you're watching a documentary and you see people losing their minds over like Elvis or the Beatles, and these girls are crying, right? They're weeping, and you're like, what is happening there? That's how I feel, right? It's just general confusion at all the enthusiasm and also confusion at me that I'm not excited. Because here's the thing, guys, I like her music fine. I, in fact, used a picture from one of her early music videos. I don't remember which one it was, but it was the one where she had like curly updo hair. And she was like dressed in like a medieval dress thing. Think 2006. Okay, 2007 timeframe. And I used that picture for my hair for my wedding. It looked nothing like that, but that was my inspiration. So again, like I've liked her stuff for a very long time, but I've never gone to a concert. But I'm not a concert girly, so I don't know of any musician that I would lose my mind over like that. And I like music. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I will tell you the news that I got very excited about this week, which you guys will probably not care about at all. And that is, and I hope it's true because I didn't actually verify it now that I realize it, that Elijah Woods and Ian McClellan are going to reunite in a Lord of the Rings movie about Gollum. And Andy Serkis, who played Gollum, is going to be directing it. I will tell you that impacted my day more than Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's engagement. Because when I was in high school, I was such a Lord of the Rings nerd. Like I was obsessed. Okay. And I think the reason I was obsessed was because I went to the midnight showing of the first movie of Lord of the Rings because my older brother worked in a movie theater. And so we went to the midnight showing with all my friends. And then I immediately, as soon as I watched that movie, read all the books, loved it, like had the box DVD set, listened to and watched every single extra, like behind the scenes thing ever. So to me, the fact that they dropped the news about a Gollum focused sequel with the guy who was Gollum in the original directing, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And my husband just stared at me like, I stared at all the Swifties when they lost their minds. So I guess we all have our weird thing. It's just for whatever reason, I couldn't bring myself to be like excited. And I guess the biggest difference is I have the self-awareness of knowing that no one else probably cares except for this small niche group. And unfortunately, I am very much in the minority when it comes to this Swift verse and all that that entails. And in my demographic in particular, millennial women are losing their minds. And so my Instagram, it's inescapable. And everyone's using their engagement photo as a meme and all of that. And so it's like not caring and then just a shotgun of that content being forced into my face, you know? But I wish them well. I'm sure it's going to be lovely. I'm sure the wedding is going to be insanely beautiful. Good for them. You know, I'm glad the squirrel found a nut, which sounds dirtier than I intended it. Thank you so much for watching. Want more of How to Survive the Classroom? You can watch the rest of the episode right now. Just click on that little box over there. Do you see it? And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Okay, bye.